Hey everyone, welcome in to another daily editorial here on the KE Report. I'm getting an update from Eloro Resources, traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol ELO and on the OTCQX under the symbol ELRRF. I am chatting with the president and CEO, Tom Larson. Now, Eloro Resources focused on the Iska Iska silver tin polymetallic project in Bolivia. The company continues to release drill results. The most recent drill result was released October 18th. Those were two holes that continue to extend mineralization. We will talk about those drill results, but first we're going to talk about the most recent news release released on November 22nd. The company has acquired some more land to the southwest and west of the Iska Iska property. Now, this is expanding the company's total land to almost 500 square kilometers. Tom, take us through the strategy here. The company has staked land. Now you've just acquired more land. What's the play here in Bolivia as you continue to expand on this Iska Iska project?
Oh, Corey, hi. Thanks for having me. The latest press release, I'm very, very excited about. I think that people will look back, investors will look back at this as a very pivotal point. And there's a big reason for this. These two properties are extremely strategic. The two properties that we just announced, that we just have picked up from actually the vendor of Iska Iska, Mr. Villegas, and a company of his that we're working through now. We received the community's green light on surface rights and such, and so we were able to move forward with this announcement. We've been working on these potential acquisitions for over a year, and hence I think we ended up with a pretty, a good deal, 200,000 shares of Eloro for these two properties. And the one that's actually southwest is called La Cassiterita, which is basically, cassiterite tin, and the Mina Joyada. So with these two add-ons, I believe they're roughly 14.75 square kilometers if you combine the two. The southwestern property, the Mina Cassiterita, is actually abutting the southeastern end of Iska Iska. The very interesting point to this, though, is that this property is at a much lower topography altitude to that of the mountain, the Iska Iska volcanic complex to the north. In other words, it is more accessible for drilling what we believe could be a major tin porphyry that is underneath and extends south based on our magnetics to date, the tin porphyry potential. So we will be able to drill at a much shallower level, less meterage, to sort of go after this tin target, which we haven't really been able to do previously due to the long holes that we've had to deal with just to touch what we believe might be the top part of this magnetic anomaly under Iska Iska, this potential tin porphyry. We do know that the higher sulfidation seems to come up with some higher grade tin as we get deeper down, like below 1,000 meters, but that's up at Iska Iska. So we believe here we might be 200-300 meters to then hitting this shallower target, being the tin porphyry. That is what is so exciting and significant with this particular add-on. It's interesting, as you mentioned, about overall land package, though. If you combine the land that Dr. Osvaldo Arce and his team has basically been able to claim on behalf of Minera Tapiza, our 98% owned subsidiary of Eloro's, we've now sort of estimated we've got a total of close to 500 square kilometers. Now that's not all just in this southern area of Iska Iska, just 40 kilometers north of the town of Tapiza. It also includes some properties up near the Potosi where the Cerro Rico 2.5 billion ounce deposit, largest in the world, in that particular location where those properties are. But still, we're getting a formidable land package, most of it being down by the Iska Iska area. So I think that will be, I think that could be very enticing as we build out this story as becoming one of the, largest resource plays in Bolivia, southern Bolivia.
All right. So continuing to build out this asset, really making it that district scale size. Now, you mentioned some of the work that has been done, that magnetic survey that was also mentioned in the news release. What's going to be the work plans for next year? Do you have any ideas of if you can get drilling, if you need to do more surface work? What's the overall strategy to incorporate this land into a work program?
Well, I think we're basically, there'll be a bit more field work done, but overall, the magnetics have given us our targets. Magnetics, it really does work with this host rock type, as we've experienced up at Iska Iska. It really helps with target generation, and in this particular case, and so we will be basically drill ready. Whether we start in January or February, I'd like to complete the terms of the definitive agreement just on the paperwork, but we should have that cleaned up, fairly soon, and then we would expect to start drilling, maybe the latter part of January, early February, to start going after these targets. Now, let me just backpedal, because let's go back to the focus here. We're dealing with such a large system. If you take a look at 90% of the drilling, we've completed roughly to date, close to 120 holes, 122 holes as we speak of drilling. Now, a large part of that has mainly been towards this Santa Barbra area, the breccia pipe, the envelope, and then now down into the deeper feeder system in the center of the collapsed caldera, in the center of right in the middle of this volcanic edifice. And this is flat lying, where we'll probably see an open pit model. Well, we definitely will. But that's where the main study, the main push has been on this particular subset of the overall system, because we could keep going here for, I'm sure, like everything's open, we could keep going for another year, but we do want to get some basic valuation under the share price, obviously with some form of economic mineral resource 43101 inferred partial indicated report. So that's our priority at this stage. So we will slow down the drilling. We've almost completed the final hole in the deeper feeder system, which, by the way, now we believe to be close to 2 kilometers in strike, whereas it was around 800 meters strike, going southeast, northwest up until about 3 months ago. This feeder system has really, with higher grades and really showing the mine modeling, which will be more towards the open pit model now, with all of this add-on deeper feeder into the valley floor. This is really going to enhance the economics and potentially the payback on this mining model. You will see all of this, again, aiming for first, early March, hopefully before PDAC, once again, for this report. I think the company, the project, will definitely re-rate our valuation. So that's where most of our energies in the last 6 months have been sort of moving on. Remember, we've got the Porco breccia pipe, we have the central pipe, we have the Hiracasa pipe. These are breccia pipes and surrounding mineralized envelopes. So, I mean, these are other areas that we can build on towards that big potential open pit, whether it's a 50,000 ton a day model over 25 years, whatever we will come out with. Let's wait and see. So in the meantime, people have always been sort of projecting on what now is taking place with this tin porphyry, because these whole systems in this particular area did come from a tin porphyry, not a copper porphyry that you can see in Chile and Peru and places. but this is more tin driven. And, through our magnetics and work, the geophysics that has been completed, we're pretty confident that there is some form of tin mass, underneath this system, because we are getting, even the outlying metals up by Santa Barbara, we are getting tin credits. As you go deeper, higher temperature metals, higher grades are basically the model, and we expect to see that on the tin. So with this La Caseterita purchase, we are now going to be able to drill again from a flatline area and further down from higher up at Iska Iska into this tin porphyry. We feel that the tin porphyry from our magnetics there's been a splay that's come up a bit where we can sort of go at it at around, again, 200-300 meter holes. So we will probably move into that, start getting ready for that, end of January, February, start attacking that target between Caseterita and then looking towards Iska Iska. Whether we have to ramp laterally, but let's do Caseterita first to make sure we've got that tin component. And then once that is, so that'll carry news flow while we're completing the MRE, all the metallurgy will come in. And I foresee over the next 12 to 16, 18 months, basically a two-prong model here, like a two mining model. You'll have the Iska Iska open pit underground model, and I say underground, like adits into the side of the volcanic, and also the open pit. And then you'll have like a number two being a tin porphyry type, probably underground mine, a higher grade tin porphyry mine. So you could see two major operations. Obviously, this is speculation at this stage, but this is sort of what we're hoping to see. And if we can prove that up, I think this could be, the Iska Iska could be becoming one of the largest discoveries in quite some time, to say the least.
All right, Tom, that really summarizes that most recent news release again from October 18th. Again, those two drill holes, it extended this high-grade feeder zone 400 meters southeast of the Santa Barbra adit. Now, to date, the company has completed almost 80,000 meters of drilling in about 118 holes. What news flow can we expect then from now, let's say, to year end, early on into next year, before we even get to that updated resource in, let's say, March timeframe?
Well, we still have around, I believe it's around 12,000 meters of sampling waiting for assays. So that'll come through over the next couple of months. But remember, there's real zonation to, and these are from probably, the Santa Barbara main area and a few maybe step outs. But, there's true zonation to this. And as Dr. Bill Pearson always mentions, we're dealing with 100-meter spacings. So I think when we tighten this thing up as you go forward into an indicated category at some point next year, you're going to be able to run into higher zonation, higher metal prices, or metal values at least. So we're looking forward to that. I do see a few holes coming in that I expect. Hopefully we'll see some, typical long intersections with very commercial grade. The backdrop to this, from every hole that's been drilled, every hole's been mineralized. But, the backdrop's been around 30 meters, 30 gram silver equivalent at least. So, I mean, you'll get some of, obviously a lot of that, but then you get into the higher zonations of, higher grade zinc, higher grade silver, so you'll see a continuation, I believe, of the holes to date from Santa Barbara, but we might be fortunate enough to see something stronger because some of the latest holes that we're just finishing off now are involved with the deeper feeder system, which we feel is getting stronger and stronger as we go deeper down at this Santa Barbara complex.
All right. Really appreciate this update here, Tom. I will post a link to the Eloro Resources website in the news section. so you all can read over the recent news out of Eloro. I'll be having Tom back on to recap some more drill results as they are released, but I think the big takeaway here is the expanded land package around Iska Iska continuing to move into that district scale property with more exploration upside and more exploration availability thanks to these new acquisitions. Tom, thank you for this update, and please keep us up to date on future news.
Great, Corey. Always a pleasure. Talk soon.